because we believe that leadership involves there's a theory of leadership called servant leadership, and we believe that that's very, very important. It's modeled by Jesus.
Yes.
And the key is to understand the vision, the strategy, and the needs of a particular area in the world, in this case for the New Zealand Pacific Union Conference.
Welcome to Dealing Hope. I'm so glad to have you join me, and this time, as you can see, I'm with Dr. Sven Ostring. Sven, really good to have you join me for Dealing Hope.
It's amazing to be with you, Eddie.
And we are actually here in the airport in
Tahiti.
And the time is
2 a.m. in the morning.
2:16 seconds to be precise.
Exact.
So this Dealing Hope episode may not be
it may not be as intelligible as we would like.
No, but we are going to give this a go. So thank you for joining us. And what I'd like to do, Sven, is to first talk to you about your role at the division, what that is and what does that actually mean. So you're director for
Ministry and Strategy. Yes.
Okay, so walk us through what that is.
Okay, so the Ministry and Strategy team is all of the ministry areas, the strategy areas in a division. So it includes leadership, strategic projects, ministry innovation, Adventist mission to the city's health, includes discipleship, stewardship, ADRA, and Adventist media as well. And we work together because we not only believe in all of those areas, and we have leaders in each of those areas, but we believe in the power of collaboration.
Okay.
So we recognize that unions and the conferences and missions that they serve are better able to develop a comprehensive, integrated vision and strategy when there's a team supporting that vision. So
and I have noticed the approach that you've taken, at least for us in the NZPUC, where you were very intentional about wanting to listen to us. And so that was one of the key words I heard when you approached me and wanted to meet with our team. And I do remember that first meeting where I don't think anybody really spoke other than to say hello while you listened to us present. And I'm hearing from what you're describing, that's what you're trying to do. Is that?
That's correct, Eddie, because we believe that leadership involves there's a theory of leadership called servant leadership, and we believe that that's very, very important. It's modeled by Jesus.
Yes.
And the key is to understand the vision, the strategy, and the needs of a particular area in the world, in this case for the New Zealand Pacific Union Conference. And we recognize that you and your team understand your church in your region even better than we would.
We certainly try, and we do appreciate you trying to have an understanding of what that means, at least from our perspective. And then when we had, I guess it was the second or third conversation after that, where you then said, well, hey, we've done some listening and we can hear you trying to form a direction.
Correct.
Is there a way where you could come now that the borders are open and COVID is all somewhat coming under control, to be able to sit with us in person?
Yes.
And so that's where we had this discussion about that. And I thought it was great that you would be willing to come over and sit with us. But even better, what if you were to join us in ministry?
Yes.
And so thank you for doing that.
Yes. It was our initial idea, as you mentioned, was just simply to fly across to Auckland from Virunga,
Yeah.
and to be able to just sit down together and talk with your team. But you actually, as we listened to you, you came back to us with a different proposal, a different concept. And that was actually that we would join your team and travel to one of the areas in the world which you serve and you lead. And that is French Polynesia.
Yes, yes.
And that is why we're here today. And as I thought about it, I could see the merit, the value, and the significance of what you're inviting us to do, inviting me to do as well.
And I think because, for at least a couple of reasons. Firstly, so that you journey with us and have the opportunity to not only observe what we're doing, but also join and participate in what we're doing. And then be able to step back as we're leaving here, to then be able to give us some constructive feedback and put into what we're doing and how that can be improved, because I think that's the important role that you carry.
Yes.
Is to support us in improving what we do.
There's another aspect, Eddie, that I think was really significant in what we did, and that is this. It's very easy for different areas of the church, layers of the church, if you want to call it that, to be kind of pushing their own agenda, to be driving their own vision and strategy. But as we talk to the pastors here in French Polynesia, particularly in the workshop about vision, one of the comments they said to us is, how do you work when so many of the different areas come along and they cast another type of vision and a different strategy, and the local church and the local pastors left confused, challenged, just trying to integrate. And one of the things that you requested, and we are very willing to do, is we come to support with you, to collaborate with you, to actually promote the French Polynesian mission within the context of the NZPUC vision and strategy. And that has been a beautiful experience.
Yeah, it's so important for us to have an overarching vision. And of course, as Adventists, it's the three angels' messages, it's the gospel within those messages.
The Great Commission.
Exactly, proclaiming that. So if that's an overarching message and theme, so in our context.
Correct.
So, and then again, at another layer, we are emphasizing the general conference theme of I will go. And we're saying, hey, we will go, and we pray that you will endure as you go.
Right.
And also, like you were saying, Sven, find out, discover what that vision is, how does that look like?
In French Polynesia.
And in French Polynesia, in your island, or your part of Tahiti, your part of Moorea, Marquises, Australians, Tuamotu, exactly. What does that look like in that place? So let me now even see if I can draw out of you some of your immediate reflections. We arrived on Sunday. Here we are, Sunday night, Monday morning. What are some of your reflections on the week and what you've experienced and what you've observed?
Well, first of all, Eddie, what I observed was a real sense of team within the NZPUC team that you lead. The sense of humour, the relationships, the collaboration was a real joy to be part of. And that was very evident. Often we'd just sit down together, debrief, reflect, and there was a sense in which we were looking to add value. We were looking to do our best, in terms of joining the team. But at the same time, it was not a heavy burden. We did not feel weighted down. So that was the first reflection. The second thing is I saw a real hunger within the ministerial team to actually move forward and grow. And I'm very, very passionate, very committed to vision, growth, and leading change, which is the workshops that I led. But you could see the ministers were not just kind of there because they had to be there. They
right.
really wanted to engage. But the amazing thing is, as I talked to them, I would ask them, well, how many churches do you support? How many churches do you serve? And they would say, as a pastoral team of 16, we serve 60 churches. Many of them 4 or 5 or 6 churches. One of the pastors here in Papate, leading a collective congregation of 1,600. So these are men, these are leaders with experience, but they were still willing to learn. They still wanted to grow. And I saw that hunger, that even though French Polynesia is the church is respected here, the church is growing, but there was still a sense that God is calling us to grow.
Absolutely.
But the other thing too, Eddie, I must admit, is the sense of being together. Being able to worship together. I know it's a, shall I say, Polynesian culture from my understanding, but to experience worship on Sabbath with the Grand Choir, and to if we could put it, ride the wave of worship. And that, I'm saying that in a good sense, not in not in an entertaining kind of sense, but in a sense that we could simply go into the presence of God. That was incredible.
Yeah, it was phenomenal. It really was. It really did begin from the planning that took place. You could see that there had been a lot of work put into ensuring that this was going to be a worship day that would be at another level. And as well, because we were there on site and we saw it coming together during the week in terms of the plan, the setup, you could see that there had been a whole lot of work before that. What I'm leading up to say is that for that worship event to have taken place the way it did, where we were just all lifted to a place where we thought, if this is heaven, we're good, because it really was so inspiring.
The other thing too, Eddie, I'd like to say as well is there was planning for Sabbath, but there was also a lot of planning that went into this, both from the NZPUC team and the French Polynesian mission team as well. And I'd particularly like to acknowledge Mahieta and Vahiria as well, two administrative support people who joined us for the entire time. And their support was phenomenal. Not only were they working through the spreadsheets and making sure that we were fed at the right times, but also to actually translate what I was presenting to the pastors, the ministers, and the families into French, and to do it also in person as well. And that was a huge amount of work, and I'd really like to acknowledge both of them.
Thank you. We are so proud of them, and they did a great job. And as you say, they were working day and night on this trip, and also in the planning up to that. And of course their counterparts here in Tahiti, Vaiani and Manava, they were just a perfect combination in the work that they did. So yes, a lot of good planning and work, and we look back at what has taken place and the joy that we experienced, and we know that God was with us, but also has planted seeds, has nurtured what's taking place here, so that the work here will continue to grow and flourish. I am so thankful that you were able to join us.
It was a real privilege to be here.
And want to thank you for that. And this podcast is very much about dealing hope, and I believe that that's what you've done. You've given hope to our people in French Polynesia, to our NZPUC leadership team as well, and travelling with us and spending time with us. And I hope that as we continue to move forward, that there will be other opportunities with you and members of your team.
Absolutely.
So that we can work together in leading and supporting God's work right across the South Pacific Division. Yeah. Thank you, Sven.
Thank you, Eddie.